Welcome back to the channel. Today, we dive into one of the most intense and silent geopolitical battles unfolding right now. One that the world's biggest powers don't want you to notice. Because this story doesn't start with an explosion. It starts with a message, short, polished, and dangerously polite. A U.S. trade envoy reached out to Burkina Faso's transitional government, requesting a confidential consultation. No cameras, no reporters, no official agenda. Just a quiet conversation behind a closed door. But everyone knew what it was really about. Gold. And a new global scramble for it. Washington had just changed its mineral strategy, quietly removing old restrictions on gold imports. A move only insiders understood. Markets reacted instantly. Mining companies shifted position. And inside the State Department, one name rose to the surface. Burkina Faso, a country rich in gold and led by a man who does not bend. The message from Washington was wrapped in courtesy, but the subtext was sharp. Let's talk. We want in. Inside Ouagadougou, the reaction wasn't fear or excitement. It was tension. Because when an empire suddenly becomes interested in what you protect, it's never just interest. It's intent. And one question echoed through every corridor of power. If they want our gold, what else will they demand? But this wasn't just about gold. The world is entering a new mineral war. A silent one. The world is entering a new mineral war, a silent one. And gold has returned as the center of global power, not for jewelry, not for luxury, but for survival, for currency stability, for debt anchoring, for economic leverage. Analysts tried to frame America's policy shift as a simple trade update. But the experts knew better. This was a recalibration of global power. And Africa, long treated as a passive supplier, had become the new battlefield. Burkina Faso wasn't targeted for its size. It was targeted because it had something far more dangerous, a leader who refuses to negotiate from his knees. Inside U.S. think tanks, alarms went off. Burkina Faso was tightening its mining laws, pushing out foreign middlemen, and building a sovereign data system capable of tracking every gram of gold without foreign oversight. And without access to that data, America had no leverage. Without leverage, no influence. And without influence, no guaranteed supply in a world where China and Russia were already moving fast. So the pressure started. Quiet, polite, calculated. Investment proposals dressed in diplomatic perfume. Words like modernization, stability, partnership. But beneath the surface, the same demand appeared again and again. Access. Access to operations, to exports, and most importantly, to data. Burkina Faso saw it immediately. Traoré understood it instantly. Gold was no longer a commodity. It was sovereignty's last line of defense. When the proposals were analyzed deeper, the truth became impossible to ignore. Hidden clauses granting foreign auditors access to mining zones. Clauses allowing temporary control over parts of the mining workflow. Clauses demanding real-time monitoring of gold flow. Corporate language hiding geopolitical ambition. One Burkinabe advisor put it perfectly. They want to manage the heartbeat of our gold. Behind closed doors, American mining executives were even more direct. They wanted live data, unfiltered, every ounce extracted, every shipment moved, every refinery process tracked in real time. Not because they doubted production, but because real-time numbers are leverage. If they can see your gold, they can predict your moves. And if they can predict your moves, they can control the negotiation. Then came the diplomatic ripples. A delayed development loan. A Western think tank warning about resource nationalism. A carefully timed comment about mineral opacity. in the Sahel. Nothing loud, nothing obvious, but unmistakably coordinated. Inside Ouagadougou, some advisors pushed for compromise. Others knew the real danger. If you give them access today, they'll shape your decisions tomorrow. Yet the government stayed silent, watching, waiting, letting the pressure build while preparing its own answer. Finally, the Americans moved directly. A closed-door request. No delegation. No protocol. A secret meeting between Washington, a Texas mining giant, and Burkina Faso. When superpowers avoid paperwork, it means the stakes can't fit on paper. The meeting took place in a neutral room. No flags, no recordings, just tension thick enough to slice. The Americans began with friendship, investment, modernization. But then, the real purpose surfaced. They wanted integration into Burkina Faso's sovereign data grid, live access to the nation's gold heartbeat. That was the moment the atmosphere froze. Traoré's team didn't argue. They didn't react at all. And that silence was louder than any protest. After the meeting, a deep forensic review exposed everything.